Yeah, for some reason I thought he had a longer record in LFA, but actually the majority of his fights at this point have now been in the UFC. And I think part of it, it's just he's been tearing through guys and finishing a lot of them that it's like it goes by so fast. I kind of forget how long he's been in here.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, where is that? 2018? Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I heard for him even before he came to UFC. I think it was around that time. My coach of Thai boxing and Boyan's also, like he was there helping Boyan prepare for the fight, and he trained a little bit with Cory, and he said he started saying, for that, like this guy is gonna be like, he was like so impressed with his striking that I never heard him, I think, talking about anyone like
Really.
till that point, and maybe even after that. Like, even gave him Serbian name, like Strahinja.
Do you remember for around what fight that was that you started
Uh,
hearing about
I
Sandhagen?
think that was before his first fight when he was still in LFA.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong, like the time zone, but like I think it was even before the UFC, almost for sure, because like nobody heard about him, and Boba was saying like, yeah, this guy's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, and obviously he was right. I mean, his last fight was a title fight. The fight before that was like a title eliminator. If you look at his record, it looks like, oh, maybe he's like on a downturn because he's coming off of two losses, but really his record doesn't really like tell the actual story. I think you could argue he beat TJ Dillashaw, at least from like a damage point of view, right?
Yeah, that's for
Maybe,
sure.
yeah, like maybe TJ he did enough to win like three of the rounds, but I mean it was a split decision. It was close, and Corey Sandhagen looked completely fine after the fight, whereas TJ was, he was beat up. He had surgery after that.
Yeah, yeah. Judging on the damage, he won that fight for sure.
Yeah.
Like, but what I wanted to say, and very interesting. Like, I had even opportunity to train a little bit when I was there with him and to watch him train. Like it's just about his movement, I think, and setting up things like how he set up the flying knee against the Frankie. How he set up, like with his movement, he's setting you up where you want to go, and he almost like got that knee also with TJ Dillashaw in the first round, if you
Yeah.
remember. So he's really good in setting you up and then firing. And he's really loose with his striking. And that's what I really like, and I like to watch him. But I think this is like very bad matchup for him. You know,
Really.
Similar guy to Jan, but I think with much more power, and young guy that's coming like after I think three victories or in the row. Is
Yep.
that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he really getting like full the potential, So it's gonna be very interesting to see what the Corey's answer is gonna be on that movement and that power, because I think Yadong is really it's really technically sound, so he will not make a big mistakes.
He really is, and like he has a very good shot selection. I think with his combos, he'll mix up body and head within one combo, which is really nice to see. I would say that I agree that like Sandhagen, he's fought Peter Yan, which is kind of similar to Yadong, and also with John Lineker. John Lineker, I think, is kind of similar to Yadong as well. Heavy punches to the body and the head. Um, and for that reason, I think, maybe Yadong has the power to hurt Corey, but I think with this style, even if it's a bad matchup, Corey has seen it a few times, and like he lost to Peter, but that was short notice. That was
Yeah.
on a 4 weeks notice in Abu Dhabi, so a little bit of travel, and I just think this is the fight that Corey's gonna kind of get back on track, back into like the top of the division with. But like, man, if Yadong wins, he's right up there because Yeah, that would be four in a row, and he's coming off of two finishes in a row.
Yeah, they can be his shortcut to the uh, title for sure. You know, like maybe even like right after that, if things work out for him, he can get a shot. You know, uh, so I don't know. This one is really heavy for me because like I know Corey, you know, and even if I think that he will not win, I would go for him. But like now it's double because I think he can find a way to win it, you know. So I would say I would go with Corey for sure.
Yeah, and I think like with Yadong's style, it's scary because he does have a lot of power and he's been knocking people out. But the fact that he does press forward so much, I think could actually be good for Cory Sandhagen, especially like I think he generally does well against shorter fighters that come forward. So shit, I think he could knock out Yadong, which would be very impressive because Yadong has only lost one fight since what 2017, and that loss was a decision. It wasn't a KO. So this is a fight I'm looking for, like Sandhagen to kind of stake his place at the top.
No, I really can't wait for this fight, you know. And this is the only fight that before I start looking a little bit that I was interested in watching, you know. And then when I went through statistic and little bit watched the fights, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be interesting." Like we said, how many like
Mhm.
performance and fight of the night. But like, what's interesting here for me, if Corey can catch him entering, you know, because like song goes so explosive, so crazy, and I don't see many openings. If he can find the openings and connect, I think it's gonna be pretty bad KO. Maybe like even like he has like a he's basically walking, living highlight reel, you know, since he came to UFC. I don't know how many like top notch KOs he had. I think this can be the most brutal one. You
Yeah,
know, I just like think he have to be even more sharper than he is, even though I think he's like top sniper in UFC. But like if he connects in that like because I really like how Song entering like so aggressive, so explosive. You know, it's crazy. Like it's basically like tornado going through the city. And also like what for me interesting fact like will he use wrestling, you know, he moved to alpha male, another guy from alpha male
yeah,
on this card, you know, so it's question like how good is he wrestling because he looks like a very powerful guy, you know, so it's question how much his wrestling improve, is it on the level that he can put Corey down and maybe make a problem there and win on
yeah.
that way.
I think that would be a good idea, but at the same time, like if you're going against Corey Sandhagen, who, like you said, he's known for these highlight reel knockouts, but then also Yadong's coming off of two TKOs, like from striking. I wonder if he sees that and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to try to prove myself against Sandhagen, and maybe a little of that ego will come out." Even though I think the smart game plan would be to grapple with Sandhagen if you're trying to beat him.
Yeah, but like also Corey is like mm, really trying to improve his ground game. What I saw, like he's like even like against Dillashaw, he try like to do some jujitsu, going especially for the leg locks, and
Yeah,
that's for me super interesting that he start training with Ryan Hall, you know, and he
yeah,
start picking it up. And for me, it's dangerous. Like we saw what happened to Gary Tonon, that he tried like one of the
right.
best leg lockers for sure in the world, how he ended up like going. And also, I think Corey was in trouble a couple times with Dillashaw, you know, going
Mhm.
for those leg locks. But like at the end, I think even pay off for him a little bit. I think he
Yeah,
hurt, yeah, he hurt the knee in the first round, but also like technically standing, like he's not on that level that Gary Tonon is, you
yeah.
know. And if you try, it can be really dangerous and it can cost a lot. You know, we saw the best what happened to Gary in his
Mm,
fight for a title.
yeah.
You know?
and even Ryan Hall, and that's someone
Yeah,
that
saying about Ryan Hall, yeah, yeah. What happened also to him, and he is on much higher level than Corey for sure. So
yeah,
it's a question if he got taken down, will he play? Will he try to play with the legs again? And especially, I think the ground and pound of Song is much more powerful than Dillashaw's. You know,
yeah. Well, have you gotten a chance to roll with Corey
I
when you're out
think
there?
I did. I did for sure. I just don't remember. I, like I
Yeah,
cannot like now recall, so I don't want to talk out of my head. But we
yeah,
did, and what I remember now digging, like he's really he's moving good, and it's hard to hold.
yeah. I'm sure that's one of those things. If you rolled with him now, you're more likely to remember because, like, when you did, like, he's risen so much higher since then.
Yeah, no, I knew even that time, and especially I think at that time when we rolled, because I was there a couple of times.
Hmm.
He was even born roommates, so we were seeing each other at the house, and like I just like like some roles it doesn't stick in your head. But
Yeah,
like you said, probably like that he was at that time like on that level, it would stick more in my memory for sure.
yeah. I'm excited. I think he has got like a good fight IQ too. One thing I think, like, even though he's learning leg locks maybe from Ryan Hall, one mistake that Ryan Hall made was like he just kept going for the same entry over and over again. Where I think with Corey Sandhagen, when he went for the heel hook on TJ, it was like opportunistic. He wasn't forcing it. It was there, and then he just went for it instead of going to the well.
Yeah,
So,
and I think it's completely different. Ryan Hall, more or less, that's his bread and butter.
mhm,
And with Corey, it's never gonna be his like first choice. He will always want it to strike. He will just
yeah,
like similar to Aldana. Like even this submission that she had in the first round, like it was crazy how she didn't manage to finish. It's just like for me, it's so crazy, and I think she even has like a much higher and more dangerous jiu-jitsu than Corey. But for some people, that they have something and they don't then use it. But like
mhm,
it's always okay to have like a backup. And I think him working on jiu-jitsu and having that like a secret weapon, I think it's a great asset to have. So we will see. I think like even now after a year of I think he fought last time 1 year ago. After this
mhm,
pause, we're gonna
yeah.
see a better version of him with more tools in his back for sure.
Yeah, and I remember seeing a headline earlier today, just like a snippet of how he's saying that he's happy that he took the year off, like since the Peter Yan fight. He doesn't usually take a lot of damage, and in that fight, probably the most that I've seen him take in any of his fights. It wasn't crazy, but Yan can hit hard, so I think that year off would be good for him, especially going against another power puncher. And
Yeah, and especially the last two fights were two 5 rounders.
mhm,
So also like experience is on his side, I think, and that time inside the cage in last couple of fights, it's gonna. I think like when you lose, I think you even improve more, and
mhm.
especially if it's not like how to say some people start losing and you see it's going downhill, like you said, and I think you said the best at the beginning of this breakdown of this main event, like you he's like climbing up. Like even he had like you said, his score doesn't show. I I think he's climbing up, and I think we're gonna see him soon enough in another attack to the title.